Sorry.
As a lighting engineer, my aim was to capture the natural lighting as best as I could alongside Tom, the cameraman. Due to the fact the weather kept changing, we had to consider the lighting of the film because it would change during the film. Therefore, we changed the ISO of the camera to match the natural lighting.
So while filming our production, me and Heb had to consider the lighting. In the first scene, it wasn't such a problem when Stephen was chasing Mia.
And this is due to the fact that the artificial lighting...
It was in the night. So
yeah, Tom was saying we had an over-the-shoulder shot for the cemetery scene, and the way we set this up is Stephen got a skateboard and we mounted a camera on top of it, and that gave us a lot more stability for our shots, and we thought that looked really effective in our film.
And that was where Dan was really useful, as he came up with that whole idea, and it was basically an improvisation because it was never in the original storyboard to use that for that shot, because we did have the shot in the original storyboard, but when I tried to film it, I couldn't, so that's where Dan came in and helped me with that, and then eventually the shot came out really well, and that's what you see in the final production.
Okay, so following from feedback we got from a few family members and friends who watched our film, as a scriptwriter and screenwriter, we thought it would be a good idea, to add some improvements to the film. For example, I started off by adding more to the script, which is a monologue. Originally we were going to start off as the idea of just having straight up talking, but I thought it would be a really good idea to have a monologue, because I thought it would be a really interesting way of showing how a character is thinking.
So as a screenwriter, I then storyboarded the second half of our film. We were originally going to reshoot the first half, but longer and in more depth, but instead we decided not to. We decided to add the entire cemetery scene, including the monologue that Dan wrote. This was because, with the feedback we got, a lot of people misinterpreted the first half of the film and thought that the antagonist and protagonist were the other way around. So we wanted to make sure that was quite obvious and explained, but also not all explained in one go, like it was almost drip fed so that it would keep the audience interested. And so that's why we then added the cemetery scene.
So yeah, we thought the cemetery scene would be a good idea, as a transition scene following on from the chasing and the train scene. And I thought the best way to start would look at monologues, because I think they're a really good way of developing our character. And so I started looking at like the whole area of revenge, because that's kind of like one of the big themes of our film. So I thought, okay, so the best way to do this is just look online for a few revenge quotes and that, and just assemble them, see what I could come up with. And so yeah, that was the first monologue I wrote. But I didn't want to risk putting it straight into the film, so I wanted a bit of feedback from the other members of the group, and they said no, just tweak it a bit and do this and that. So I tweaked it a bit and they liked it. So yeah, that's
So we decided to include a variety of sound effects throughout the course of the film. In the first half of the film, which is set at the train station, we saw after filming that there was a train passing in the back of one of the shots. And so we decided that we would add the synchronous non-diegetic sound of a train passing, which we then subsequently recorded and added over the top of that scene, which made the scene more realistic, and it made the sound link up more to the video, which we felt enhances the feel and atmosphere of the film. In the second half of the film, set at the cemetery, we recorded a variety of ambient noises to include it alongside the soundtrack, such as the wind passing through trees and the rustling of leaves. These were recorded on set, although they weren't recorded at the same time as the video, making them also non-diegetic synchronous sounds. We felt that noises such as wind rustling and leaves rustling would add further atmosphere and build tension throughout the scene. And yeah, that's the sound effects. As for the soundtrack, me and Tom worked on that together. We found copyright-free music that we felt really fitted the genre and the action very well. So for the first half of the film, we found a track that gradually built with a drum beat for having long droning tones that also built in volume. We felt that this added tension and also sort of a feeling of energy that you often find in action films, and matched really well with the idea of both a heartbeat and with the footsteps as the chase scene occurred, with the repetitive sound of the drum. In the second half of the film, we included long droning tones. This was to build tension alongside the ambient noises. But we kept it quite quiet, both so that it didn't drown out the monologue, and also so that it made it feel almost eerie and on edge, rather than having an overpowering soundtrack.